Ever feel like you're just drowning in to-dos?
Oh, yeah.
Constantly chasing that work-life balance? We've all been there.
We have.
That's why we're doing this deep dive today into this awesome guide you sent us, Mastering Time Management.
Yes.
I think we can unlock the secrets to a calmer and more productive you.
Yeah.
I was looking through it,
Yeah.
One of the things that really stuck out to me, it was the emphasis on setting SMART goals. It's kind of a classic framework.
Mm-hmm.
Have you found it makes a difference in your day-to-day life?
It's funny you should say that because, we often gloss over the basics.
Yeah.
But those SMART goals
Yeah.
are really like the bedrock of effective time management.
Right.
Without that clear sense of direction, it's so easy to just get swept away in the urgency of the day rather than focusing on what truly moves the needle.
Exactly. And speaking of focusing on what matters, the guide dives into the Eisenhower matrix. I've always been fascinated by that tool. But in our always-on, digitally driven world, do you think it needs an update? How do we apply those quadrants of urgent versus important when everything feels urgent all the time?
That's a great question.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Eisenhower matrix, it's a fantastic starting point.
Mm-hmm.
It does require some adaptation for the modern world.
Okay.
One approach I found super helpful is to kind of layer in this concept of impact.
Oh.
So within each quadrant, you can further prioritize those tasks
Right.
by asking yourself, which of these is going to have the biggest positive impact on my goals?
Oh, I like that. So it's not just urgent versus important, but it's also about strategic impact.
Exactly.
That adds a whole new layer to the matrix.
Absolutely. It helps us move beyond just reacting to the urgent. And instead,
Right.
we can be more proactive and shape our days to align with those bigger goals.
I love that. The guide also talks about time blocking as a way to, bring structure to our days.
Yes.
I've dabbled in time blocking, but I struggle with sticking to the schedule. Life just throws curveballs,
It does.
What are your tips for making time blocking actually work, especially when things get unpredictable?
Yeah, I mean, it's true that rigidly adhering to a time block schedule can backfire.
Yeah.
The key is to treat it as a flexible framework, not like an ironclad contract.
Okay.
One strategy that I like is to build in some buffer time.
Oh.
So instead of scheduling those back-to-back tasks, just leave some gaps in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. For those unexpected calls, maybe some urgent requests come up, or just to catch your breath.
Those buffer zones sound essential.
Yes.
I also like the idea of grouping similar tasks together as the guide suggests. Makes sense, switching between writing, emailing, strategizing all the time. I mean, that's got to be a drain on brain power.
Oh, yeah.
Is there any science behind that?
Absolutely. There's this concept called context switching.
Okay.
Basically means every time you shift gears mentally, it takes a toll on your cognitive resources.
Got it.
It's like your brain has to reboot every time, which leads to fatigue and just reduced efficiency.
Yeah.
So by grouping similar tasks together,
Right.
you can actually minimize that context switching and maintain that more focused flow.
Okay, that makes so much sense. Like those mornings when you get in the zone,
Yes.
you power through, a bunch of similar tasks. Pure magic.
Yes.
But then there are those days when procrastination rears its ugly head.
Procrastination, the nemesis of productivity.
Oh, yeah.
This guide offers some clever strategies to combat it. Have you ever tried the Pomodoro technique?
I've heard of it, but never really committed to it. Something about those 25-minute chunks always felt a bit gimmicky to me.
Okay.
What's the real magic behind it, do you think?
It's not so much magic as it is working with our natural rhythms.
Okay.
Our brains simply aren't wired for that sustained focus for hours on end.
Right.
So the Pomodoro technique really embraces those natural peaks and valleys
Right.
by incorporating those short breaks to refresh our minds.
I see.
And those short breaks are crucial. It's not about just scrolling through social media.
Right.
It's actively stepping away from your work, stretching, going for a walk, or just closing your eyes and taking some deep breaths.
So it's like tricking your brain into staying focused by giving it those little rewards throughout the day. I like that.
Exactly. It also helps break down those overwhelming tasks to more manageable chunks.
Yeah.
Speaking of overwhelming, let's talk about the multitasking myth. This guide drops a truth bomb on that whole idea of juggling a million things at once. Does that resonate with your experience?
So absolutely. I used to pride myself on my multitasking abilities, thinking I was being super efficient. But honestly, it just led to me feeling frazzled and scattered. I'd start one task, get distracted by another, then jump to something else, and end up with like half-finished projects everywhere. It was chaos.
Yeah, it's a common misconception that multitasking makes us more productive, but the reality is our brains can only truly focus on one complex task at a time.
Right.
When we try to do multiple things at once, we're not giving any of them our full attention,
Right.
which leads to errors, decreased quality of work, and just increased stress.
It's like trying to have two conversations at once. You might catch bits and pieces, but you're not fully present in either one.
Right.
So if multitasking is a myth, what's the alternative?
The key is to embrace focused work.
Okay.
So choose one task, block out those distractions, set a timer if it helps, and give that task your undivided attention. You'll be amazed at how much more you accomplish
Right.
and with less stress.
Makes a lot of sense. I bet it also leads to higher quality work
Oh, yeah,
when you're fully immersed in the task at hand.
absolutely.
But what about those times when you just have too much on your plate? That's where delegation comes in, right?
Delegation is a powerful tool,
Okay.
not just for saving time, but also for empowering others and building a stronger team.
Right.
It's about identifying tasks that can be effectively handled by someone else,
Yeah.
freeing up your time and energy to focus on your core strengths.
This guide provides a lot of practical advice on delegation. What are some of the key things to keep in mind when deciding what to delegate and how to delegate effectively?
Well, the first step is to identify tasks that are truly delegable.
Okay.
These are tasks that don't require your unique expertise or your decision-making authority.
Right.
Then it's crucial to choose the right person for the job, someone who has the skills and the capacity to actually handle the task effectively.
It's also important to provide clear instructions,
Yeah.
set expectations, and offer support along the way, right? You don't want to just dump a task on someone and expect them to figure it out on their own.
Exactly. Successful delegation involves clear communication, ongoing feedback, and just that willingness to empower others to take ownership of their work.
Delegation seems like a win-win.
It is.
It frees up your time, develops other skills, and builds a more collaborative work environment.
Absolutely.
But what about those tasks we simply can't delegate? This guide also talks about the power of reflection as a key time management strategy.
Yes.
What role does reflection play in all of this?
It's like the secret sauce of time management.
Yeah.
It's where the real optimization happens.
Okay.
You take that pause,
Right.
not just to catch your breath,
Right.
but to analyze what's working, what's not, and how to refine your approach.
It's so easy to just power through the day, but taking that time to reflect seems so crucial for actually improving rather than just staying busy.
It is.
What are some effective ways to incorporate reflection into our routines?
One simple yet powerful practice is to just end each day
Yeah.
with a quick review.
Okay.
What went well today?
Okay.
What could have gone better?
Yeah.
Most importantly, what adjustments can I make for tomorrow?
I like the idea of treating each day as a mini experiment. What about those recurring obstacles we all face? Those distractions that just seem to derail us no matter how hard we try to stay focused.
Absolutely.
Any tips for tackling those?
Reflection helps us uncover those patterns,
Right.
those productivity pitfalls that keep tripping us up.
Okay.
So are there certain times of day when you're more prone to procrastination?
Yeah.
Are there specific environments that make it harder to focus?
Right.
Identifying those triggers is the first step to overcoming them.
So it's about becoming aware of our own personal productivity patterns. Maybe I need to banish my phone to another room during deep work sessions or schedule those creative brainstorming meetings
Yes.
for like my peak energy times.
Exactly. It's about tailoring your environment and schedule to support your optimal workflow.
Okay, now let's talk about something that promises to help with that workflow tech tools.
Oh, yeah.
This guide dives into the world of productivity apps.
It does.
And honestly, I'm a bit overwhelmed by all the options. Where do you even begin with choosing the right tools?
Well, the app landscape can feel like a jungle out there.
It can.
The key is to really start with your specific needs and pain points.
Okay.
So are you struggling to keep track of tasks? Calendar chaos got you down?
Yeah.
Or maybe you just need help fending off those digital distractions.
Oh, I'm definitely guilty of the digital distraction thing.
Uh,
My phone is like a black hole for my attention span.
for those of us battling the siren song of social media,
Yeah.
focus apps can be game changers.
Okay.
Tools like Freedom or Forest can block distracting websites,
Right.
or even create virtual environments that promote concentration.
Oh, okay, those sound intriguing.
Yeah.
And what about task management?
Yes.
I've got to-do lists scattered across notebooks, sticky notes,
I hear you.
random scraps of paper.
Oh, yeah.
There has to be a better way.
Task management apps are a lifesaver for taming that to-do list chaos.
Okay.
Apps like Todoist or Asana allow you to create projects, assign deadlines,
Mhm.
and even collaborate with others,
Okay.
all in one central location.
So no more hunting for that lost sticky note with the crucial deadline scribbled on it.
Exactly.
But even with the most sophisticated tech, self-discipline still plays a major role, right?
Oh, absolutely.
We can't just rely on apps to magically make us productive.
Technology can be a powerful ally,
Right.
but it's not a substitute for good old-fashioned self-discipline.
Right. This guide emphasizes that point,
It does.
offering some practical tips for strengthening that willpower muscle.
Yes.
One tip I found particularly helpful is the 2-minute rule.
Yes.
If a task takes less than 2 minutes to complete, do it right away. It
Yeah.
seems so simple,
It is.
but I can see how that could prevent those little tasks from snowballing into a mountain of overwhelm.
It's amazing how much mental energy we waste on avoiding those tiny tasks.
Yeah.
The 2-minute rule is a great way to clear the clutter and maintain momentum.
Okay.
And for those bigger, more daunting tasks, breaking them down into smaller steps is key.
That makes so much sense.
It does.
A huge project can feel paralyzing,
Mm-hmm.
but if you break it down into manageable chunks,
Right.
it suddenly feels so much more approachable.
Absolutely.
It's like that saying, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of setting mini deadlines.
Okay.
Even for those tasks with those far-off due dates,
Right.
creating those smaller milestones along the way helps maintain focus and prevents procrastination.
It's all about creating a sense of urgency and holding ourselves accountable.
Yes.
But let's not forget that effective time management isn't just about work.
Right.
It's also about carving out that precious personal time.
That's so crucial.
Right.
We can't pour from an empty cup.
Yeah.
This guide reminds us that time management is about creating a life we love,
Yes.
not just a to-do list we conquer.
It's about having the freedom to choose how we spend our time pursuing those hobbies, passions, and relationships
Yes.
that truly bring us joy.
And that, in the end, is what makes effective time management so empowering. It's not about cramming more into our days, but about creating a life that reflects our values and priorities.
It seems like the overarching theme here is that time management isn't just about efficiency.
Right.
It's about intentionality.
Absolutely.
It's about aligning our actions with what truly matters to us,
Yes.
both personally and professionally.
I agree.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive.
We have.
Before we wrap up, let's do a quick recap
Well, sure.
of those key takeaways.
Okay, start with the foundation.
Right.
Those SMART goals provide clarity and purpose.
Yes. Living.
Fridge tools like the Eisenhower Matrix
Mhm.
to prioritize based on both urgency and impact.
Embrace techniques like time blocking and the Pomodoro technique
Yes.
to structure your day and work with your natural rhythms.
Absolutely.
Remember,
Ditch that multitasking myth.
Yes.
And embrace the power of focused work.
delegation is your secret weapon
It is.
for freeing up time and empowering others. And don't underestimate the importance of reflection.
Yes.
Continuous improvement,
Oh,
uncovering those patterns
Right.
that are helping or hindering your progress.
Exactly.
Tech tools can be powerful allies,
They can.
but ultimately it comes down to cultivating self-discipline and
Yeah.
making conscious choices about how we spend our time.
And above all, remember that effective time management is about creating a life that allows you to thrive,
Yes.
not just survive.
Mm-hmm.
It's about finding that sweet spot where you're achieving your goals,
Right.
but you also have the space to recharge and pursue those things that bring you joy.
This deep dive has given me so much to think about. I'm ready to ditch those scattered to-do lists and create a more intentional and fulfilling life. What's one final thought you would leave our listeners with something to ponder as they embark on their own time management journey?
I would say, think about your ideal day.
Okay.
What does it look like? What does it feel like? What activities fill your time?
Right.
And how can you use the techniques we've discussed to structure your days and create that life you envision?
That's a powerful question.
It is.
We'd love to hear your thoughts on that, too.
We would.
Share your ideal day or your biggest time management challenges with us on social media using #TheDeepDive.
Remember, this is a community of learners,
Is.
and we can all benefit from each other's experiences and insights.
Until next time, happy time managing.